What is this now? I think we're on day 27, day 28. I forgot. Go back and check later. I think it's also 9 days till I fly back to the US. Very exciting. But what's even more exciting is right now, actually. I was thinking about stories and trauma and healing and being in the now. And I was thinking about how important it is to tell the story of our life experience versus being present in the now. Because doesn't it require to put myself into my memories in order to tell the story of my past? And if I'm doing that, isn't that not being present, not being in the now? And I'd like to speak about that a little bit. First of all, I would say no, actually. Talking about stories of the past is not being present in the now moment, because only the now moment exists. The past only exists as a memory within the mind, and the past is actually happening concurrently with now, because the past is just another now moment in some sort of parallel universe. Because linear time only exists within form. There is a timeless nature of consciousness that doesn't experience the past, present, or future. It's just all that is. That's why the all that is the all that is, because it's everything all at once. But if you identify with your story, if you believe your story and says this is true, rather than recognizing that your story is just something created by your mind, it's part of your imagination, it's part of your imaginary creative process, and that your story has something to teach you and to teach others, then it can be beneficial. It may also be necessary in many cases, because in order for you to be able to embody presence fully, in order to connect to this moment and connect with your higher self, you have to heal yourself and heal your trauma and heal your pain. Because if you've got unhealed trauma and pain and unprocessed emotions that are stuck inside your physical body, these are going to block you from accessing your higher self, from being present. So that means in order to be fully that which you are, which is your higher self, which is this higher dimensional consciousness, not your human body, then you need to clear out that which you're holding on to, this trauma from your past, which means there is value in telling your story. By telling your story, you can set yourself free. And I was thinking about this because after reading that book recently, It's Okay That You're Not Okay, I'm thinking about the kind of writing exercises she shares in there, and began writing a little bit about my own experience with death and grief. I wrote down something yesterday, and basically, after writing that down, I pretty much just felt terrible the rest of the day. And so why is that? Is it because the exercise didn't work? Okay, so I'm writing about my grief, and then I just feel even worse than before I wrote it. So how could this be working? No, that's exactly why it's working, because it brought those emotions to the surface, and I had a hard time facing them afterwards. And And so I went through the whole day just feeling kind of crummy. I tried meditating last night. It was almost impossible. I couldn't really do it. I was trying so hard to avoid what I was feeling, and I went to sleep and woke up this morning, went into another deep meditation, and then just I started to realize what was going on. How it was so important for me to have that experience yesterday. How it's so important for me to get this story out and to share it in these videos, to write down this book. There's multiple books, okay, that I've wanted to write for years. Actually, I've ever since I read Wild by Cheryl Strayed. If you don't know what I'm talking about, if you're dealing with any sort of loss or addiction or breakup, and or you have any interest in hiking and journeys of the soul, I highly recommend this book. If you haven't read it, if you already read it, you know what I'm talking about. Wild is just amazing. It was, I think, an Oprah Book Club book. They made it into a movie. The movie was okay. Certainly cannot hold a candle to the book, but I loved the movie, actually, as well. And ever since I read that book, there's two things that happened to me. One, I started to get this calling, like I've got to just go backpacking. It was a dream to go even backpack the whole length of the Pacific Crest Trail. Well, I've never done that, but I did backpack for 3 weeks at Lake Tahoe by myself after Greg died. It was a very meaningful experience, very valuable, and I've been thinking more about this to do some more backpacking as my time to return to the US is getting closer. I'm going to be back in the US soon and thinking about, making preparations for what it will be like to go backpacking next summer. The other thing was that I wanted to write a book about my experience after my mom died. And I just never did that. And now I'm being called to it. And there was actually, starting to think about it more and over the past couple of years, but feeling a lot of resistance to this idea and never really knowing why, going back and forth. And suddenly, like, it hit me how important it would be just to write this, to express my creativity, because by doing so, I will be able to release so much trauma and pain in my body, which will then be a pathway to embodying my higher self fully. Doesn't that sound great? I don't know, maybe you don't understand, or maybe you think that's like totally awesome, whatever. I think it's freaking fantastic. I'm so excited about this idea, this realization that I've experienced today. And yeah, this is a really wonderful time to be at in life. I felt like crap yesterday, and it brought me to this. Okay, so hey, all right, if I need to feel more junk, more icky feelings coming up, okay, I'm ready for them. Like I'm totally grateful for like this moment of joy and ease that I'm feeling now, and I will enjoy this and appreciate this as much as possible. And then when that other stuff comes up again, because I know there's more healing, there's more release to be done, I appreciate that. Okay, so it's important to make use of these times when we're feeling good, because that's when we can more easily remind ourselves, yes, you're on the right track. Yes, continue to trust yourself that everything is happening the way it needs to, because there's going to be those moments of darkness, and at those times, it might be a lot harder to really trust. That's when the doubt and the uncertainty and the fear can come in. So this is a message to my future self. If you're having doubt and uncertainty and fear about what's going on, just remember that you've been through all this before. You've been through the ups and the downs, the highs and the lows. You know that each one comes after the other, and you're never stuck in one place for too long, even when it might be a long time, but in terms of everything, even years is nothing. So trust yourself, trust in this process, dive into your pain, let the grief and the trauma wash over you, let it overwhelm you, because it is through the trauma, the pain, and the grief that you will get back to your higher self, to who you really are. I love you. Thank you.